this property owner is even within this property, this district that's being assessed. And number two, I would say that the objection is not on point because it has to do with an objection about being included in a district. So that would be my opinion to you on that objection.
We have no person listed as paying in this levy.
So, of course, somebody who's being assessed is the only person that has standing to bring an objection, and so it appears that this person isn't even in the district anyway. The third written objection is, it's signed as Roger and Pam Conlon of Humboldt. It says, after review of final repairs and/or supposed improvements on our properties on, and they give 4 parcel numbers and the assessments for those properties. $315 assessment, $2,049 assessment, $1,062 assessment, and a $224 assessment. It says, which on 3 occasions repairs / supposed improvements was performed. We are submitting our written objection to trustees of said DD for any further use of above mentioned land for repairs and/or improvements and/or to acquire future additional right-of-ways. We voice this objection due to condition in which said land was left in after repairs / supposed improvements. Complete disregard for the condition of our property, as well as objecting to our land's total assessment amounts only due to mass with no regard to runoff, watershed, due from buildings, dwellings, and pavement versus natural creator watershed absorption. The first paragraph, they are objecting to future repairs or improvements or future additional right-of-ways. Again, this is not the time to be objecting on that kind of a matter. A person cannot opt out of a drainage district, and so the drainage district has jurisdiction over the property within this district for drainage purposes, nothing more. So the district does have the right of easement to go in and repair and make improvements. That's a statutory right that the state has given the district to do. Now, they voiced their objection due to the condition in which the land was left. And if somebody's unhappy with the condition of their property after the contractor comes in and does work, then they should file a claim or make a request to have something fixed. And I would say that the trustees should look into that if something was damaged, that they should urge the person to make a claim for damages, and at the least, someone should check on the condition of the property to see if it was damaged or not. So it's something that attention should be given to it, but it's not grounds to change the assessments that we're here for tonight. The last paragraph does go to the issue of assessments, where it says, as well as objecting to our land's total assessment amounts only due to mass with no regard to those other things. Is Roger or Pam Conlon here? Yeah.
The part that deals with the reclassification report, I'll just give a short explanation here. They have 4 parcels. They have 2 rather large parcels, and that's fairly open area. They have 1 parcel that's a little over 3 acres and 1 that's a little over 1.5 acres. The normal points per acre, now that's where we go from 0 to 100, for residential is in the 25 to 35 points per acre. Those 2 parcels are both just over 20. So we already did adjust the points per acre based on a significant amount of the land being open grass. So we feel like we've handled that. It's just that they have so much land that the assessment adds up to well over $3,000.
And the code doesn't require you to look at how they are using the district, their outlet. Somebody may have a field that's fully tiled, pattern tiled perfectly, so it drains perfectly. The neighbor may have a field that's not tiled at all. So they have a drainage district outlet, but they may not be taking advantage of it. That's their choice. So if somebody has a field that's maybe wet, it might be because they don't have pattern tile, but that's not the job of the district. The district is to drain a 1/2 inch of rainfall per day, if that's the coefficient, or 1 inch of rain per day, if that's the coefficient. It's not to take it out of the property completely, it's to give the owners the access, the outlet, so that they wanna hook up to it, to get that rainfall to go off their property, they can take advantage of it. So, I think sometimes people might complain that because their property's not being drained perfectly, that's really, might not be possible by just putting in the drainage district. So, your job now is to decide whether or not this objection warrants an adjustment, a further adjustment based upon what the commissioners have already done. So Rick is giving you kind of an explanation of how they've been lowered from the 100 full benefit down to the 20s. Do you have any questions of Rick as to whether or not you think there should be a further downward adjustment for these 4 parcels? And
I didn't understand the last paragraph with the mass. So,
it says, as well as objecting to our land's total assessment amounts only due to mass,
so
with no regard to runoff / watershed due from buildings, dwellings, and pavement versus natural creator watershed absorption.
I believe
okay.
what,
So you're talking about the adjustment.
right, I believe they're talking that they felt that we did it just on area, and because they have such a, I'm gonna say massive area compared to a residential lot, the assessment's high. But the units we put on it, on that 0 to 100 range, were lower than standard residential.
And they're also referring to the porousness of the property. If they had a huge parking lot, the water would run off immediately, and they might need to be assessed more because their benefit is greater. But if it's all porous, then it may not be, but Rick is basically saying that he's taken that into consideration.
Yes.
What's the normal points on farmland?
For this district, what's the average? What's the general?
Well, I'll just read 2 or 3 of them here. Here's some in section 31. Ranges from, well, it goes all the way down to 2.7 up to 12. I can find some more. So much of it's lots and lots. Generally, we try to be from 2 to 10.
Even on the north end where you're farthest from the outlet?
Well, this was a Wagner that I looked at, so
Yep.
it'd be the northeast corner kind of with it.
We usually defer to you, Rick. Would you look at that? Would you wanna look at that, or are you okay with what you've done already?
With these
With
lots
the
that I've
Conlon.
looked at.
With the Conlon adjustment.
Are you okay with the 20 then?
Yes, absolutely, because that's why I wanted to look at the points per acre and compare it to what other residential was. Yes.
Yep. Any other comment or questions on that Conlon objection? The last one is from Deborah Schultz, who's present. It's 3 pages. I have not read it yet. I understand that the trustees have read it. Did you want to make any further statements to the board? Did the board want to ask you questions? I'll just open it up to comments and questions if there are any. I'm not familiar with this written objection, so I'm going to read it. If there's any comments or questions, I would welcome you to make them now. You can take the podium if you'd like.
I don't need podium to speak. I all along have questioned fairness. the way it was presented to District 80 from the very beginning on the 2009 project, basically was that by taking the watershed off of 13A, that 13A would benefit greater than District 80, and that they would pay a, higher percentage than 80, and there was a flip-flop. That's been one of my major complaints, because no one has ever explained why, other than Rick that said we got a new system, but that new system, hasn't, like Lee said, really benefited because there's water. Okay. Number two, it was presented to us after the second really hard rain, and everybody had water in their basements, and we were told that if you had, and I know where the Commons are going with that, if you had property that had, like, if you have a basement and you have sump pumps, if you have a driveway that is cemented, if you have eave spouts where you have more drain off, then you will pay a higher percentage than someone who doesn't, or that someone who has bare land. Bare land. Well, my bare lot, 68.75 is what the percentage benefit I get from my water seeping down into the grass and not even going into the tile, because it absorbs between the trees and the grass. We have property in the same neighborhood that is same size as my lots, yet their bare lot is almost $100 less than mine. My properties that are located at 402 5th Street North and 403 4th Avenue North, we had those surveyed 2 years ago. Online, if you go online, the property is separated, but it is not according to the map that Mr. Hopper used, and he said, this will affect your assessments. Why isn't it changed? I can't change it. My job is done. I've had it surveyed. I've paid to have it certified up at the courthouse. Everything is legit if you go online. So I don't think I'm being assessed properly. My driveway's not fixed. I lost part of my yard because of how they mushed out the driveway. I've put up with it for 4 years, since 2009, and like you said, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
David Johnson.
But report it. Well, do you know how many times I've reported it? I've reported it not only to the Humboldt County Supervisors, I've reported it to you at least 4 or 5 times. I've put it in every objection letter that I've written, and I've been writing an objection letter from the time this started in May. Do you know what? I still have a bad driveway. I still have the mud. My property isn't put back in the condition, so I can understand where the comments are going. Let me see. I don't have my letter in front of me, but there is a part in there that the three districts, as far as the storm sewers do not intersect. You have pink, green, and blue. Well, I'm in the pink. So why do I have to pay for green and blue? It's to my understanding that there's projects that have been done in Humboldt on the north side of Highway 3. How does that benefit me more in Dakota City than it does a citizen of Humboldt? Because I'm paying the higher percentage, not only on that 2009 project, but also on every other project that has been thrown into this assessment. I also was not included on the 2009 project. I was supposed to get a letter telling me the difference, never did. So I'm very much, objecting to the fairness of the assessment. When I have a neighbor that has a lot the same size as I do, and they're assessed almost $100 less than I am for a bare lot, and they are included in the 2011 assessment, I have a problem with that. I don't mind paying my fair share, but I really am doubting the fairness of the whole thing. I don't have a basement, I don't have eave spouts, I don't have a paved driveway. We
So-
have very simple property.
Is she on 80?
Yes.
So, that's my story, and almost all of my objections the whole time have been pretty much the same. I've never got, well, Lori wrote me one letter. It gave me some idea of some of the additional charges to the original 2009 project, but not altogether. Plus, it was only 187,000. You add that to the 488 that it was, it's still a far cry from 1.250.
Meetings like this cost us a lot of money, and they're gonna continue to keep adding on if we keep having the meetings.
All I'm asking is
I'm
for
just
a
saying- I'm
fair
just saying.
assessment.
I mean, what are you looking for? Are you looking for $50, $100? What are you looking for?
I am
Yeah, need
looking
to
for a
ask you
fair
that.
assessment.
No, you must have a
That's-
figure in
that's what I'm
mind.
There
looking
was a
for.
problem with the
Because if you
description
don't-
on the lots and how they were grouped, but we were going from records at the courthouse.
Yeah, I have a problem with you. You started saying, "I never got," and then you stopped. But Rick spent a lot of time talking to you after the last time you had a complaint, right? So what did Rick tell you? Because it seems to me like you had a complaint and Rick looked at it. So don't say you never got and then end it. You got something already, and you've been to all of these meetings, and we've heard these complaints over and over again. So are you looking for a monetary payout?
I am looking for my property to be put back in the condition it was before the project. I am looking for a fair assessment on my property, and it would be nice if we would use up-to-date records and not old records. I just want it to be fair, and I don't feel that it's being fair. Not when a lot the same size as mine, that's also fair, can pay $100 or almost $100 less than mine.
Can I ask what your assessment is on that lot if yours is $100 less than your neighbor's, what is your assessment on that lot?
I believe it's $529.81, and theirs is like $438.
I'm not sure which lot it is.
You know, I just want a fair assessment.
I can't see it helping
That's
me a
all.
damn bit.
Is that,
But I'm gonna have to
that
pay it.
lot that you're talking about, the $100 difference, is that,
That's just for my one bare lot.
Okay.
And then my properties across the,
I'm wondering if, are you saying that there needs to be, in your opinion, there needs to be adjustments to just that one or all of those?
I would like adjustments to my bare lot because I would like it comparable to other bare lots, same
And
size.
you have a total of 3 or 4 lots.
I have
What properties?
one that's bare.
How many properties do you have?
I have 3.
3. One's bare, one has a house on it.
No.
Tell me what are on these 3
We
properties.
have a home with an extra lot. Okay.
Okay,
And then we have 2 other houses.
okay.
And the 2 houses that are across the street, that, you know, and I didn't find that out until the last meeting, that the map he was using was not correct. And that was after the fact. It was after the meeting when we were talking outside.